This shirt kind of accentuates my skinnips. So today I'm going to be showing you how I use construction to permanent loans or one-time close loans to build houses like this $750,000 Joshua Tree Airbnb with almost no money in the deal, providing me more ROI than almost any real estate vehicle in the world, allowing me to do things like fly my plane around the Statue of Liberty or dive sunken drunk planes in the Bahamas whenever I feel like.
I'm not bragging.
If you're looking to get into short-term rentals, you 100% need to be looking into new construction, not remodels, for several reasons I'll mention in this video, including infinite returns, almost no money in the deal, and many more. In this competitive short-term rental market where there's a lot of supply, there's a small amount of rentals that are making most of the money, and that's where you want to be. And so that's why I'm only focusing on new builds. And if you want to chat with me one-on-one, you can book a consultation like hundreds of other people have in the description. The Airbnb bust that a lot of people are talking about has been grossly exaggerated. And what they're really talking about is all the crappy homes that have flooded the market on Airbnb with cell phone pictures that look like grandma's old house. The truth is that you can still make over $100,000 with properties like this in places like Joshua Tree and other markets in the country, but you have to know what you're doing. And mostly new builds and the special ones are the ones making the money, not the remodels. Although there are some cool remodels, most of the top properties in the country are new builds and designed for the Airbnb algorithm and designed to get people to stop scrolling and click on their link. To be honest, the whole process is really complicated, so you need to know what you're doing. In this video, I'll go through the financials of this house, how we got it built, and how you can do it too, and what kind of ROI we have. In this case, because the bank lends on the appraised value of the house, we were able to build it in a way that we have almost no money in the deal, providing us with almost infinite returns. You need to stop listening to all the YouTubers who are talking about the Airbnb bust and realize that what's really going on is that there's a lot of supply and there's a lot of junk. And that's what they're talking about, is the junk. The days of putting up a random house on Airbnb with cell phone pictures and making money is gone. But for the select houses that are done right, that know how to get people to click on their listing, they're still making a killing. In fact, more than they ever have. So in this video, I'm gonna take you inside my $750,000 Joshua Tree Airbnb build that we designed and built from scratch. I'm gonna take you through the whole process of how we got it built, the financials of it. I'll show you the inside, the climbing wall, the fire pit, the custom pool and hot tub, the hammocks, all the design decisions, the tile, and my favorite, the 3-hole Frisbee golf course. Ah! Ah! Yeah! With land that we paid only $30,000 for, the photographer insisted that I use this shot, and I have to say it works. Action shots are gonna be the big thing that happens this year in Airbnb. Everybody's gonna have models and people doing things. So let me take you back and give you a little context on this build and how we did it. All the markets that I look for Airbnb for new construction, I look for a couple things: affordable land and high retail value. The reason for this is because banks will loan on the appraised value of the house, meaning if the appraisal is high and your cost to build is a little bit lower, they'll loan, let's say, 80% of the appraised value of the house. And so all of your costs will equal the loan amount, and your down payment can be almost nothing. That's the secret to it. Joshua Tree is an interesting market, and a lot of people talk about the saturation in markets like this because there's a lot of eyes on it, but the new builds and the interesting builds are still making a lot of money. There's a lot of houses that are done right, and their calendars are booked for over $1,000 a night. There's also houses that are $199 a night, and their calendars are completely empty. So that's the secret. You have to focus and put yourself in this top 10% of any given market that you're in. So rounding up, all in all, we're in about $750,000 in this build. That includes all furnishing, all permitting, design costs, the build costs, the permitting costs that we can associate with Airbnb. Joshua Tree is a market where there's a lot of land. I look for places where land is cheap, but resale price is high. I look for places where land is cheap, but resale price is high. It's really important. So we ended up finding these two lots together. They were $60,000 for both. And we decided we're gonna build this house on this lot, and the adjoining lot, they're 2.5 acres each. We're gonna build the dome house, and that's getting started soon. We're actually still looking for an investor for that one. So reach out if you wanna build out in Joshua Tree. Every market has a different group of people going to it. We don't wanna compete with hotels. We don't wanna just be a commodity and a place to stay for people. We wanna provide a unique experience. Next to a national park or a really cool area, those are the places that are making a lot of the money now. And for Joshua Tree, we didn't wanna just be a cheap place for people to go when they wanna go to the park. We wanted to have an area where people can have a unique experience where they can't have other places. They're scrolling through thousands of listings. They wanna stop scrolling when they get to your listing, and that's what we wanna provide. So we focus on things like amenities, seclusion, places to look at the stars, things that people say, and they say, oh, I cannot wait to go there, and hey, I can't wait to take my little Instagram picture next to this Joshua Tree. Every market's a little different of what people want. If it's a mountain market, it's gonna be a little different vibe. Desert market's gonna be a little bit of a different vibe. Beach market's gonna be different. So we want to focus on unique design and amenities. And that's really important to put yourself in the top 10% of a market. So construction loans are a big part of this project, and getting close to your lender is important. We utilize construction loans because they loan on the appraised value of the house. So for instance, this loan that we have, they will lend 80% of the appraised value of the house. And the appraisals in this area are high. So we know that our costs are gonna be less than the appraisal, and the amount we have in it is gonna be less than a traditional 10 or 20% down. So construction loans are really a great hack to getting a high ROI on your money. And especially I tell people who are first-time investors, let's say they have $50,000 to $100,000 in the bank, say, what can I do? I say, well, you can take your cash to buy land, and then they will roll that into the loan and use that as part of your down payment. So you can a lot of times get that back. And then at the very end, it automatically converts to a 30-year loan. And you just pay interest on the loan during the construction phase. It's interest only during that. And if done right, you usually have equity in the house at the end. So you can decide to sell it like we did with this last house. We made a couple $100,000 here, or you can decide to keep it, which we're definitely doing with this house because we expect it to book for quite a bit of money. And for the markets that you're in, you really need to make sure you have this going for you. If daily rates are going to be $99 and you paid a bunch of money to build it, it's going to take a long time to get your money back. You want to build properties that are so unique that people are willing to pay a huge premium. There's people out there with money that are willing to pay $500 a night, $1,000 a night or more to stay in something super unique. But the house itself has a unique design. There's a lot of different features in it that are made for short-term rentals. We have views, and every single room in the house has a view to the outside with the pool and the hot tub. And every morning you wake up, you open the curtains, and you can see a fantastic view. When I stay there, if I'm working or hanging out, at the end of the day, I like to take the body wash and I go out to the outdoor shower and I just take a shower under the stars. It's great. The entry goes in right to a big view. And if you look right, you have this big 30-foot climbing wall that not a lot of people have. If you go left, you have amazing views with a great living room. The social flow of the house is all together. So although this house was a big swing, we want to be budget conscious with it. For every market, if you look at say AirDNA and you look at the income numbers for a market, you'll see that there's a curve where the more bedrooms and the more people you host, the income goes up. But there's a point where you get diminishing returns, and if a house is too big, you're spending a ton of money to build it, but there's less and less groups of people that big that are going to be able to rent it. And if you're too small, there's a limit on how much you can charge for people. Unless you have a really unique piece of land with a crazy view of a national park or the Grand Canyon or whatever it is, couples aren't going to typically pay that much. So I like to be in that 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom range. This house is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 baths, and we actually had enough room for a flex room that actually can host another person, and we use that as kind of an office. We put a little desk in there for a nice view if you're working. I wouldn't go any bigger in this market, but you need to do your research in every market where that sweet spot is. And although this house shows off well, we have a lot of budget conscious decisions here, but you focus on the right places. You focus on the picture spots, the experiences. We actually were able to build this whole kitchen for not that much money. We were quoted $20,000 for some amazing cabinets and amazing kitchen from a company called Reform in Santa Monica. They're fantastic, but we were able to get these cabinets, I think, for under $5,000. We focused on the coffee station. We focused on the mural in the back. I need to like cleanse the palate with all this information. So let's go through the ROI on this and the financials of it. So this house, we're roughly $750,000 all in. The loan amount that we have is $740,000. So we only have $10,000 to $15,000 in this when it's all said and done. So our projections are showing that similar comps in the area to new builds, and those houses that are done right are doing way north of 6 figures. So we expect to be anywhere from $100,000 gross, or about $8,000 a month, to about $150,000 gross. We were able to lock this in earlier this year with a 4% interest rate. Now our mortgage would be a lot higher, but our total monthly nut with utilities, pool maintenance, and everything else is about $5,000 a month. So we can say that conservatively we'll be cash flowing at least $3,000 a month and hopefully $4,000 to $5,000 or more. And what makes this such a great investment is not just that we're cash flowing and putting money in the bank every month, but our renters are paying for our mortgage. It's getting paid down. We have tax benefits. We're using cost segregation. We're using bonus depreciation to actually bring our tax burden down, and we're not going to be paying much, if anything, on that. Our interest is a write-off. We can write off a lot of the maintenance on the house, and the house is appreciating over time. It's a fantastic investment, and all for about $10,000 to $15,000 out of our pocket when all is said and done. And we use AirDNA to get this booking data. That's where we can estimate what our revenue is going to be. We know that we're going to be in the 90th percentile with this house, so we can kind of estimate where we're going to be. But we're very confident that we're going to be above the $100,000 a year range. So I want to talk about timing of this. We're able to get this stuff done in about 14 months from start to finish, and that's because I have everything lined up and pipelined. If I do a new build, it kind of goes into the pipeline. But we have land purchase, we have to do an address assignment with the county. In parallel, we're actually starting the design of the house. I don't work with an architect, I work with a draftsman. We can go back and forth. I have enough design eye, and my draftsman has enough design eye that we can go back and forth and create something really unique. And then in the field, while we're actually building it, we'll have other ideas, and I work with my contractor. That's the benefit of having good relationships with people. You don't need to go by some strict policy. You can kind of figure it out as you go. But we figure plan check takes about 3 months. Pre-plan check's gonna take another 2 months. And then the build time is gonna be about 6 months. That gets you to what, 11 months, is that right? And then once we're finishing up, the last 10% takes about 30% of the time because we're doing furnishing, we're doing all the final permitting, we're converting the loan to a 30-year mortgage, which happens automatically with a good one-time close loan, and we're doing all the permitting for your local jurisdiction. So in the future, we're gonna be building more of these. With my investment group, we take investor money, we build, and then the investor has the opportunity to either sell or keep it, and we manage it for them. And as long as the interest rates hold where they are, we know we can do that. But that means that this process of building a new home from scratch and being in the top 10% of the market, in the short-term rental market, it's really gonna be the only way that you can make money in the future. And also building from scratch means that you're not taking away a house from somebody that needs it in this weird renter nation we're going into. Short-term rentals are not going away anytime soon, but they are gonna get more competitive as more supply hits the market and gets more sophisticated. The crappy ones that you see with their calendars not booked, they're not gonna last. But the people that are building unique stuff, not only do you have a cool house to use, but you're gonna be the ones that are making good money and really doing well in these days of super high interest rates and high competition and a possible recession hitting.